Davey, a really disappointing result on the road here. Can you just give us your thoughts after that one?
I feel like I owe the fans an apology. I feel like I've let the fans down. I think it was a huge push to get top six. Gutted that we couldn't get it, but I think I've got to take accountability for that. So there's huge frustration. The fans turned out in numbers today. The game never went the way we wanted it to go, or we hoped it would go. I don't think there was a lot in the game. I think the first goal changes the dynamics of the game. It allows Dundee United to drop in, defend their own half, defend the final third, which I felt they done very well. We struggled to break them down for the majority of the game. Nothing in the game really. Nothing in the game. McGrath scores off the keeper's left-hand post. Shinnie has a shot. Keeper saves it. Stephen Bradley has one by the post. There's nothing in the game at all. But we concede first. It's risk-averse football at that point for Dundee United as well. They've got a huge amount riding on trying to stay in the Premier League. So it became a very, very difficult game to try and break them down. And for me, goals at this level change games. I think they dominated most of the ball, but again, really struggled to break them down. But that Jamie McGrath goal is a game changer for me. That's a game changer. It allows them to drop in and defend their final third, defend their own half, get the numbers back in, and allow you the ball in areas of the park where you struggle to hurt the opposition.
As you said, obviously United going a goal up in the first half, 2 up in the second half, and it felt like Livingston obviously throwing everything at it to try and get back into the game. But do you think that when the guys were throwing everything at it, maybe just like taking a shot too early or not?
I think the game's done at 2-0. I think we're chasing the game at 1-0. We lose a wee bit of our shape. I understand that. Fletcher goes off with a knock, and then they allow him back on that area of the park. Christian gets mugged. But we never lost the game through Christian's mistake. We didn't lose the game through that. For me, spoke about it in the press, we've had the opportunity since match day 22 when we came back the December break. We've had countless opportunities to try and cement our place in the top six, and I don't think we've taken them. We've won some games, but I don't think we've taken them. I've got to take accountability for that. Then shapes, formations, it all kind of goes out the window the last 15-20 minutes of the game. You're chasing a goal, and then you're trying to get two, and then when they score their second, the game's done at that point. The game's done, so it's really difficult to dissect the game any further than that, if I'm honest.
It's one of those. You said to me in recent weeks, Davey, that coming into a season for Livingston, the main sort of thing to try and get is safety and whatnot, and top six it's one of those things that if you get it, it's a bonus. But as you say, kind of looking back and whatnot, it
doesn't feel like it's a bonus. Do you know what? How far the clubs came. It's now, I expect it. For me, I expect it of my staff, I expect it of the players, and I don't like talking about that publicly, but we've came so far as a group, as a club, and you kind of go into the season wanting, that's the desire is to get top six. Now I know staying in the Premier League is the bread and butter, I know that, but it's hard to take any solace for that just now, if I'm honest. Really difficult. I just got to lift the boys in the changing room. Lift the boys. I spoke to them. We've got 5 games left as a group, and again, in typical fashion, you're going to lose 3 or 4 of your best players. You have to recruit well, you have to re-coach, and you have to go again. That's a difficult part in football. So we've got 5 games left as a group. They're not going to be easy games. I think we've got probably, I'm not even going to talk about the fixtures, but 5 extremely difficult games of football where the dynamics within the games are going to be risk averse. There's teams fighting for their life, so it becomes risk averse football, very direct, and we're going to have to stand up to that battle, because the last thing I'm going to allow to happen is the season to peter out. But again, very difficult to kind of put too much detail into that now, because overriding emotions, disappointment for the fans, disappointment for the club. I know getting top 6 would have really helped the club out financially this year, so I feel that I've let the club down a wee bit, if I'm honest.
It's one of those, like you say, going into those last 5 games, of course, missing out on the top 6. How is it that you, as a manager, try and galvanise the players to, as you say, it's not where we want to be, but there's still 5 games to be played. There's still points to be picked up, and there's still places to be got at.
For me, my head's half working on next season now in terms of the squad and the boys that are going to be at the football club and the style of play and how we're going to approach next season. I spoke about top 6. I can't change that. I can't change what's happened today. I can't change for match day 22. We've not got top 6. I feel responsible for not getting top 6 in terms of that financial stability it could have brought to the club. But in terms of the footballing perspective, the sporting perspective, it's done. This game's done. Can't do anything at all about it. Use the adversity to kick on the next 5 games, because the next 5 games are going to have a hugely significant factor going into next season. So I'll have one eye, the coaches will have one eye next season. Some of the players that have probably not had as much game time as they wanted that are going to be here next year. I really now need to focus on winning games of football, which I've been trying to do all year. But again, I've got to get that balance correct, because we've got a group of players that aren't going to be together after these next 5 games, and I think it's important that we start trying to put plans in place for next season. And the points total we're sitting on just now probably allows us to go and do that, so we can start a wee bit of the preparation for next year just now, and that's what I plan to do.